Hello, and welcome to the final episode of Course Correction. Yes, I have finally reached the end of Course Correction. The only reason why I'm ending it is because I feel like I can't do anymore. Like, I feel like for the next year, for 2020, I need to be focused on something else. And to be really, really completely plain, I only started this show because I didn't know what to do. I had ended Between Us Girls, a podcast kind of abruptly, and I was not sure which direction I needed to be going in. And so I needed a course correction because my life had changed as well. Um, and that's what the show did for me. And I hope that you guys that listened to it, I hope you learned something. I mean, if you didn't, as I always say, oh well, click off. But if you did, I really hope that you took away some tools that can help you in your everyday life, because that was really my goal, was not just to help myself but to help others. So this episode featured Angie B. She's an author of a really, really important book called Judge Me Wrong, and it's about a young girl who experiences teen pregnancy and then has to go through life, and she just kind of overcomes. And I'm really, really, I can't wait to read it. She gave me a copy of it at the event last week, the Ladies Take the Stage event. Thank you to everybody who came and participated in that. It was really, really a beautiful event, and I really, 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 really appreciate everyone. Thank you so much to my friend Nicole for coming through in the clutch for me to provide food when the food vendor dropped out. I really, really appreciate everybody. I know I've said really, really a lot, but I really, really, really mean it. All right, so let's get into the last episode, and don't be sad. You will still be hearing from me because there's a lot going on. I have a lot coming down the pipe. Of course, 54 is still working, and then we've got Sunday brunch coming, which will be a panel show like Between Us Girls. So I just really hope that you guys stick around and make sure you're following on YouTube so that you can see us and not just hear us. All right, let's get into the episode.
Okay, so what is your zodiac sign so that I can properly introduce you? And once you tell that, just give us a little bit of information about you and who you are.
My zodiac sign is I'm an Aquarius. So what is that? The water. My name is Angie B. And I am a self-published author. I just wrote my book. It was published August of this year. My first self-published author. The title is Judge Me Wrong, Finding Truth Through Life-Defining Moments Right in Front of Your Face. And I picked that title just because everyone's always judging. So it's like, okay, well, you're going to judge me anyhow. So just go ahead and judge me wrong because normally, typically, that's how it is. And the book is it's based on a girl. Her name is Rose. And she's a young lady who's living, with consequences of her past mistakes, which makes people judge her all the time.
Is her name Michelle Roy?
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds like something that most people can relate to. I mean, a lot of people will try to act like they never made decisions or did things that affected them negatively later. But stop lying, because, as human, that's what you do. You make decisions and then you're like, oh, guess I shouldn't have done that, What made you want to write about past experiences creating right now?
Just being able to go back and live through, personal experience. And writing was therapeutic for me. And just going through the self-depression, the self-doubt, and just really focusing on how to overcome it. How do you overcome that depression? How do you love yourself first before you can love anyone else? So it was just really based on personal and past experiences. I was a teenage mother, and that one of my goals was just to get the story out. I was able to make it out. Not everyone can make it out. a lot of people. And during that time when I was a teenage mother, that was one of the lowest and difficult times in my life.
Mhm.
Just losing friends, losing family, and I really went into a deep depression. So, I wanted to gravitate and help someone else's by telling my story and reliving it and hopefully helping someone else overcome it.
You know, my sister had her child at 16.
Right.
So it changed the whole household,
It
and it
does.
her, like she was already kind of, I mean, I'm not, I don't know. And every time I get to talk about her, I say, I don't know so much, but
Mhm.
I don't know what it was in our house that made her, or what her past experience was that made her, because she kind of just went off and was like, I'm gonna do what I want, and it changed everything. But I'm not sure that she ever made it out, because she's 40 years old now, but she's still beating herself up, running from the truth of what happened. I mean, and she had several more kids after that, but she's still, and then the child that was born when she was that age, he has mental health problems. So there's just so many things that kind of like connect there, but I can
Mhm.
really feel like I can remember that experience, and I can kind of really relate to you through her. Like, even though I was 20 when I had my first child, which is still rather young.
Right. Right.
Um,
Right.
but having to go through school, and I know a lot of my friends who are in that position, that's the thing that was the most, I wouldn't say difficult, but it was what stuck with them, was how they were viewed at school, or how they felt at school, because nobody else was having a kid, or it
Yes.
like something for people to pick on you about.
Yeah, exactly. And we can say, well, being a teenage mother, oh, that happens all the time. It's happening, more than the norm. However, not everyone overcomes it. Everyone, it's like, okay, yeah, you're not the first and you're not the last. That's what you hear. You're not the first, you're not the last, which is
Mhm.
true. But sometimes, we're faced with that fork in the road. So it's like, how do you decide and to make that moment, when you make a major choice and decision in your life? So that was the story. I overcame it, and I had to learn things a different way. I had to learn things that I didn't even know. And it and those writing, it became the norm for me. It was for me to go in there and just everything that I was thinking, I was able to put it in paper, put it on that paper, and fully be true of myself and have that true essence. So that's where it all come from. That was
So,
the beginning.
so you started writing like during your experience of teenage motherhood.
Right, right. Well,
Wow. So
no,
you.
no, no. Let me take that back. I always was like just writing. I always did that. But when I thought about how can I help someone else, and then that's when I came and said, I'm gonna tell my story. Let me
Mhm.
tell my story, my way, my own words. And the genius thing that when I think about it now, the genius thing is that I didn't give up. Because a lot of people, they give up.
Um, I wrote this the other day, not the other day. It was like 2016 after I'd seen Moana, and I was like, "Oh, don't give up," and all this shit.
Mhm.
And I was like, because honestly, at that time in my life, I did not even believe that.
Right.
And so what I said today was, I swear I love and need myself, because I wrote that note for my today self. I
Mhm.
didn't write it for them. So, like, what are some of the ways that you try to keep your center so that you can, continue to hold yourself high instead of kind of falling back into that old way of thinking that you may have had?
Um, Just I meditate. I still have a mentor, and I do a lot of reading, and I just listening to motivational and moving forward, pressing forward, and not giving up. That's the goal. Is just keep waking up and doing it all over again, and trying to get it right after getting it wrong for so many times.
Right. Like yesterday, I did not have a good day, and so today when I got up, I was like, "Well, it's my chance to try again."
Try
You
to
know what I
get
mean?
and
Just
do
try
it
again.
all over.
Yeah. So you strike me kind of as the type of person who really does not look at yesterday or any of the days past.
Yeah, that's gone. We just have to. What can we do now to make it better? What can we
Hmm.
do different that we did yesterday? So, and let's get on. Let's get with it, and hey, have at it, and just
Yeah.
keep pushing forward. Yeah.
How do you keep yourself from looking too far into the future?
Oh wow, that's I would say just one day at a time. That's my thing. I can't speak for anybody else, but I'm just doing it one day at a time. That's all I can do. That's it. I just have to take it one day at a time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the best advice, one day at a time. But see, I struggle there because I have anxiety. So I'm
Okay.
like, oh, but what about what's going to happen in 3 weeks? Instead of what can I do today? So that's
Yeah.
why basically because of my anxiety, I'm
Yes.
always like in next week worried about something that I'm it's not even coming yet, or I don't know, you know what I mean? So that was why I asked that question, just because I like to ask people, what they do to stay in today.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny that you say that because, when you first say, well, what's your zodiac sign? Well, I'm a true Aquarius. So,
Mhm.
we're like nonchalant people. And it is what it is. We plan ahead, but just in case it doesn't happen that way, we always have a backup plan. But for right now, I live in the moment. I'm
Yeah,
in the moment. Hmm.
6-year-old Aquarius. She's pretty interesting. She likes to help me with my breathing so I can calm down.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's like, remember what I talked to you about? Remember we talked about breathing? I'm like, yes, I remember. Um, oh, do you have any kids? Well, you do have kids. You had a child when you were 16.
Yeah. And I have a 11-year-old,
Oh,
and he turns 12 actually this month, a few days before Christmas.
wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's that like for you, like having to start? So like you parented as a teen and then you parented as an adult. So like, what was the big difference for you?
The big difference was no fear. And when I first realized I was pregnant, with my son, it felt I was able to go and tell my mom, and my boyfriend at the time, he was there. Before, when I was a teen mother, no one knew it. I actually hid it from my parents for 9 months. 9 months. And but
So
this
you
one
didn't
was
get care?
say that again, prenatal care.
Yeah, so you weren't going to talk or anything. You were just like, we just
Mm-mm.
gonna see what happens.
Yes, yes. I was scared. I don't know what we are, baby. I don't know what we are, but my mom, she was like, you don't bring babies in this home, so how do you tell someone I'm pregnant? They're gonna kick me out and be on the street. I didn't know what to do. I mean, and since I'm telling the story, I tried everything like except going to someone's home and have the abortion where they're putting a hanger, and I didn't do any of that, but it was all that, hey, if you pick up something heavy, you'll have a miscarriage. Well, none of that worked for Angie. None of it. You drink this will happen, and it didn't happen. It didn't happen, and the baby was growing inside of me, and all I could do was wear big baggy clothes and a jacket and cover it up.
The time frame called for baggy clothes.
Yeah, it was all the Jodeci boots and our baggy clothes and bag. And then finally, when my mom found out, it was it was devastating. It was devastating, and I thought my life was over, and it was. I was already going through any and everything you can imagine, just trying to hide all of that, and I'm playing in my head, okay, well, once I have the baby, then I can go and put this baby somewhere. I thought of those things. Those things played in my head.
I'm sure.
And but once my mom found out at 9 months, it just so happened I could have been like at 37 weeks when she actually found out. So then we were able to, and she was there, and I was going to give my daughter at the time up for adoption. And my mom decided, she said no, since that would be her first grandchild, she said she just couldn't do it. And that's when it all just, it changed.
This girl I went to high school with took someone else's ID to Planned Parenthood and had an abortion. And when she came back to school on Monday, the girl was livid because Planned Parenthood had called her house over the week to check on her. And she had not had but she knew she had given her ID to this other girl. So it was a big thing. Yeah, it was big. But then those people ended up getting married, the ones who had the abortion. So I'm like, okay. But I mean, anyway, that was just later. I mean, I guess I understand being in that position and feeling desperate, and also being a teenager and not having as much experience or knowledge. You know what I mean? Like it's like you like it, and you're like, oh, my mom. I mean, moms say a lot. You know that now. Like my dad told my sister, we weren't even allowed to talk to boys on the phone. So that was part of the reason, though, that she was sneaking, because she was afraid to talk about, wanting to date somebody. So when it got to be my turn, I had seen all that. So I was like, you gonna go pick him up? We finna go over here, and that's gonna be it. Because I didn't want to be in that position to have to be sneaking and hide, because I wasn't gonna do it. Like I was gonna do what I did. So either we were gonna fight, or you were gonna work with me, and you were gonna allow me to have my human experience. Like that was how I looked at it. And it was very aggressive. He was like, oh, I'm going. He said he told her he was gonna knock her down the steps or something crazy. So she left for the rest of her pregnancy, because like she didn't come out with it. Well, she told me in the beginning, but I was like, no, you're not. Because I was like 11. And I just thought, she's crazy. She is not trying to have a baby, because she said she wanted to have a baby. And then I said, no, you don't. And she said, well, I'm already pregnant. And I didn't tell her secret. I told it, but I told it way later. So it was like because my mom and dad had been talking about it, because she kept forgetting to pick up her tampons. So so my dad was like, okay, well, somebody's not picking up their tampons, and I know it ain't Pee Wee. So like, no, I don't even know. I didn't know anything about having a baby or being pregnant or anything like that, because we didn't talk about sex, which is another reason why she was doing what she was doing, and the way she was doing it, because nobody had discussed with her where babies came from. So she left. She's about 6 months pregnant whenever everybody kind of found out, and she was angry because she was hurt, but she left. She was gone for the rest of her pregnancy, and then she had my nephew, and he's very sick now. But I mean, it was like I said, it really changed the dynamic of our whole entire household.
It will.
Yeah. And I mean, and everybody, like you said, can't handle it like you did.
That's it. You know, a lot of people handle it a different way, and some people can, and some people bounce back, and some people move forward. But everybody's story is different.
Hmm.
So it's it's a game changer. It's a game
Yeah,
changer.
but I'm glad that you're writing about something that is so important and still happening, because people are still not having the right discussions with kids, or people are still taking advantage of kids or young women.
Right.
But the thing about it is that sex is not wrong. And when you're young and you're that age, of course you start having urges and you want to be with somebody,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because I was 16 when I started being sexually active. I was like, I'm ready. I'm ready for it. I already know. Be talking to you. And I spent so
Yeah.
many years thinking I was ready, so many years, like even after the very beginning, because I didn't really grasp it until I was like late 20s. Like I'm talking like after I was pregnant with my second child at 28, I was like, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing when I'm doing this. This is
Right.
not how it's supposed to work. So I'm glad that you're writing a book that, I mean, I'm sure, do you think is it appropriate for young adult reading?
I would say, I have my ages starting at 15.
Okay. I mean, that's right where you need to be
Yeah.
when.
And that's the age. Um, 15 through 30, that's the target audience.
Yeah.
It's not just focusing on that, it's also focusing on other topics of,
Yeah.
the depression. Yeah. And just the self-worth and just different things like that. So, but it's starting off at the age of 15 and it's going up to, 30 for that
Yeah.
target audience. Mm-hmm.
I mean, those are all topics I think that, I mean, I wish that I had known about self-awareness and emotional intelligence and just, accepting myself and grace at that age, you know.
Right.
So I think that's it's like a perfect cocktail of everything you kind of need to know as a young woman,
Mm-hmm.
that would help you be a better adult woman, because
Right.
there are so many adult women who are still young in the mind because they haven't, first of all, haven't experienced it. But then on top of that, their experiences have been so surface level that they haven't really had any chance to grow. So like reading is so important when it comes to like broadening your mind and like everything. So I mean, if I can help you at all to reach that demographic, like even, I know this is probably going to be controversial, but like to get on some kind of reading list or something, that would be really, really cool. Just some way that you can reach a more broader audience.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm looking for too. That is,
Yeah.
yeah. Just, just to discover, your true essence and, your value,
Hmm.
your value, and just developing as a person, and being a better person.
Yeah. And whenever you are at 15, 16, that means that you will always be a decent person,
Person,
because then you
right,
know how to react to situations that might act out of character. Okay, this is just part of my experience, as opposed to, oh my God, this is the end of the world. Now I'm gonna go kill myself. You know what I mean? Like, because it's just
and
not
a
that.
lot of them, yeah, yes, and a lot of them suffer with that, with depression.
Yeah,
So, yeah, you're right. This is it. This is it.
yeah. Are you in Houston?
I'm in the Beaumont. I'm in Beaumont, so I'm like an hour and a half away from Houston.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you should definitely try to make it to that event that I'm having, because, like, I mean, even if you wanted to bring like inserts or something to give to the people who come so that they can read your book. I mean, if you want to send books, you put it in swag bags or whatever, just to get your message delivered to more people. You're more than welcome to do that. Because I think this is really an important, it's an important message that needs to be delivered. Like, that's actually one of my passion projects that, of course, I'm not started or anything like that, but I always wanted to be able to reach young women at that age.
That's it.
Because
and because we're going through heartbreak, we're going through pain, we're going through losses. And now they're struggling. And even now, back then, no one talked about it. It was so obsolete. Now is so much that's going on to where, okay, if you have this one person that can reach just one person, then boom, that is powerful. It's powerful.
Yeah. Things like people always think that they have to be changing like huge mass amounts of people. No, all it takes is one, because that one person, then they go share, or then they go teach someone, and like it. But that's what we're coming here for, is to share the message. And like, yeah, I have a podcast, so I reach like a pretty large group of people. But if all I had to talk to was just you, I would still do the same thing.
Yeah.
And my thing is, that was like right whenever I needed, and my sister and you, and I needed somebody to grab me and to say, hey, you're about to step into life. Here are some tools. I can't give you everything because we have to go through it. But if I had information, that would have been amazing. Because it's like me and my friends are teaching each other, and we don't know shit.
Not a damn thing. And that's the thing. And earlier I said I had to learn things that I didn't know. I had to learn this on my own, So you hit it. You hit it.
Yeah. I mean, and like I remember looking through the bathroom, because my sister and I had like a connected bathroom with like, the actual toilet and the tub in between it. I would just get her and her friends, and they'd be in there putting on lipstick and talking about stupid stuff. And I'm like, I guess I was always kind of like aware. So I was like, they just don't know. But I know enough to say, hey, you guys, maybe you should consider doing XYZ, because I didn't know, because nobody had talked to me about it, because I think as far back as like 11, I was probably like having thoughts about sex and, and kissing boys and liking boys.
And you played house and all that good stuff.
And I was thinking this morning, and I was like, what was it that I couldn't wait to grow up to do? And I was like, probably just have sex.
Yeah. And now it's like, sometimes you're like, really? Today? Do we really?
Like, you don't know what kind of day I had. Here you go again.
Yeah. But 10, 15, 20 years ago, that was the only thing that was on our mind. Today's world.
Like, when you think about, well, I guess for me, when I thought about being an adult then, I thought I didn't know what work was, because I wasn't going to it. I just knew my mom was home. My mom and daddy were coming home from it. So I was like, I'm going to get me a job and have money and have sex.
Yes. And drink alcohol.
And child, I had to do a stint in AA, because I had so many issues and was not dealing with them, because my dad passed away at 16. So like, also another boom, right at that age when I needed somebody to grab me, the person who was going to slap me was like,
him,
so I didn't have that, and my mom was grieving. So, and then she already didn't talk about sex because of some sexual trauma that she had experienced, which I didn't find out about until I was an adult. So like, that stopped her from being able to talk to us about sex and what to expect, and, who we should be giving it to and how and all of that. So when my dad died, and I told the girl I talked to Monday, I told her this story. I had a dream that he called me on the phone, and he was like, this is like sort of right after that. And he was like, don't let them niggas treat you like that. Well, I know what he meant now. That's right. Just going out and just being promiscuous and looking for love and looking for connection and trying and needing so much. And that was all he said in the phone call. So that was not enough information. So I just really like that has always been the age group that my focus has been on as far as who I want to help as far as kids, because what I really want to teach is just the truth of life, which is that you can create your own life. Even if you have a baby at 16, okay, you and that baby can move mountains together. You know, these are your seeds. They're here to help you work, you know, or train you or to teach you something. So like figure out what it is and work together as opposed to, you know, falling by the wayside or feeling like all you can do is go to a technical college and, you know, because you can do more than that.
You can do more than that, or just, you know, and some of them have baby after baby after baby. It's more than that. So it's a topic, and a lot of people are afraid to touch on it, but we need to talk about it. We need to discuss it more.
We sure do. A lot of people are talking about it because it triggers them. And even if it wasn't them, maybe it was somebody they know, or maybe their mom was a teenage parent. And so they get what they needed from their mom because their mom was a kid. And a lot, just like I said, I mean, everybody didn't handle it the way that you did. A lot of people abandon those kids, even if they're physically there, they're not there emotionally. And so the children are resentful of the teenage parent. Well, you got to remember your mom is a kid. You know, like give her some grace. And even my mom was 34 years old when I was born, but I still have to give her grace because there are things that, like I said, she didn't teach me, but not because she didn't want to. She didn't know.
No. Yeah, that's it. That's so true. It's so true.
Yeah. Definitely. So where can people find your book?
It's available on Amazon. I don't have the actual ID number, but it's available on Amazon. If they type in Angie B, Judge Me Wrong, get a pop-up. And also on my website at www.judgemewrong.com. It's available also on the website.
Okay. And so is there anything else that you'd like to add to the interview, or just for people to know about you or about your experience before we go?
No, that just I want to talk a little bit about the book. It's just really a very short read. It's very illustrative, and it's appealing to a wide range of audience. And I wanted to do something. This is my first self-published book, so that's why I just really did it really short. No fluff in it. It's straight to the point, but it's a very, very good read.
Okay, you know, it's interesting. Another one of my, somebody I interviewed and a friend and one of my swag vendors at the event, she actually wrote her book after the child that she had as a teen died. So that she wrote that book so that she, you know, because it was cathartic for her to deal with the experience. So it's so interesting that, you know, you guys both would be on the show.
Yeah. So that means this topic is a topic that we need to discuss. It's a topic to discuss.
Absolutely. And I'll help you however I can to get this book out and share it with as many people as possible. And, you know, we'll just keep pushing because this is a really important topic. And like I said, it changed my family experiencing that. I mean, even though it wasn't me, being that I had some empathic ability, I felt the whole thing and I was there. So it was, you know, I could tell, and I still see the change in my sister all of these years later. Like my nephew, today is his birthday, actually. So, okay, you already told everybody where to find your book. Where can they find you?
They can find me. I'm on IG at Hello Angie B, and I'm on Facebook as well. And Judge Me Wrong is my Facebook page.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Angie.
Thank you so much, and you have a good night.
I will. You too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right, so that was it. I hope you guys had a great course correction. I hope you learned something. And I hope you got to know me a little bit better, because I know on Between Us Girls, I'm not going to say I was a different person. I was a different person when we made that show. So I'm somebody else now. I've kind of gone through a rebirth, and I feel like it was important for me to share that part of this experience with you guys, because what you're going to see from me moving forward is going to be more of a spiritual nature. I'm not saying I'm going Kanye, but I am practicing spirituality, and that means a lot of things. So I just really appreciate you guys for sticking with me and for hanging in there while I did my course correction. All right. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Bye.